Hey everyone, welcome to Grow Space Vertical Farms. I want to talk about how we light this incredible vertical farm. At first, we really just needed a temporary solution so we could start growing some produce. And I want to show you the solution we came up with. It's actually ridiculous. So at first what we did was pretty simple, where we just had a cross that was made of two 2x4s, and we just zip tied some lights to it. It was a very cheap, very easy temporary solution for us to use, and it worked well. I'll be showing some old footage of what that looked like on the screen now, and you'll be able to just see what this kind of arbitrary kind of BS looked like. This is what it used to look like. It was really rugged, really messy, and it kind of sort of worked, and it worked good enough though to grow some plants. The lights that we used on those original crosses are what we call T8 lights. So this is our NFT system, which is completely proprietary, designed by ourselves. We're actually using the same lights that we used on those crosses, we're now using on our NFT system. So it's not really a dingy light of any sort, but it was a pretty dingy solution. So at first we considered doing something called an adjustable lighting system, where we would change the levels of the lights as the plants grew. This is something that's somewhat common practice in vertical farming, but we chose not to do it here because we can get enough brightness out of these lights where we don't have to change the level. Now what we could do with the other solution is we could probably get away with the lower power lights, but these lights are already pretty low power, and at that point we're really just pinching pennies for a huge increase in complexity as far as the actual design of the system would need to be. So the big and obvious lighting that we use is the tower garden lights here, and we needed to do some pretty awesome custom stuff in order to make these things work properly inside of our farm. Let's get up there and I'll show you it. So we use a custom solution to actually attach the lights onto the ceiling. So these lights are kind of weird. You'll see in a second why they're so weird. But we had to modify them pretty heavily to make them actually work inside of a building. Each one of these lights has one of these metal brackets that come up. The thing is though, they have to be a very specific orientation or else the lights won't attach correctly to them. So we had to perfectly line it up so that the bend works in the correct way, and then we simply just took a chunk of wood and drilled them right into it. The thing is though, is they actually come with a standard like power clip on it, like as if you're going to plug it into a wall, which is kind of weird because they should be a permanent fixture in most scenarios. So we just chopped that off, and we had an electrician install all of these up here. So something else to look to avoid is light and dark areas. So as you can see with these tower garden lights, we actually have a brighter side where the light is, and this right here is a big open dark spot, which means that a lot of times we get smaller plants in this area. The plants might not look as good. The plants might kind of get a weird shape as they kind of bend towards the light. Overall, it's something that we want to avoid in a vertical farm. Another important distinction to make is the difference in color of light. So at GrowSpace we use a blue light, which is why it's so bright and luminescent in here. That actually allows us to do nothing different than a full spectrum light would, other than we cannot grow plants that flower. This would be something like a tomato. Another thing that I think is important to mention is our tomato experiment. So we're messing with tomatoes and seeing if we can grow them for GrowSpace vertical farms, and we think it's going pretty good. So the first big thing is the lights in here are the full spectrum, and they are red lights. So this is just kind of the difference of application, where when we're growing tomatoes like we are in this tent, we really need that full spectrum, but downstairs is not really worth our effort and time in order to get that process built. So another good thing to mention about vertical farming is that we can use natural light. We aren't here, but natural light is very commonly used in vertical farms. Simply putting these tower gardens in a greenhouse, as an example, could be a very effective solution. Now, we'd have to first of all find a greenhouse, buy a greenhouse, build a greenhouse, whatever, which would be a nuisance that we don't need to deal with. But we would also still need to add supplemental lighting to grow in the winter. So we would actually still have a drop-off in production during the winter months. So by doing it 100% indoors in a perfectly climate-controlled environment, we don't have to worry about any kind of winter delays. But overall, it's very effective to simply grow in these towers, as an example, inside of a greenhouse. We just don't do it. I just wanted to say thank you all for watching this video. I really enjoyed making it, and if you'd like to learn more about what we're doing here and about vertical farming in general, be sure to like and subscribe. We make all kinds of different videos, and we've got a lot in the backlog ready to go.
And if you have any ideas or any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and we'll answer them. Thank you for watching.